There we go.
Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Fathers, giving you advice on how to thrive in your parenthood, in your marriage, and everything that we try to do every single day. So for all of you guys who are watching High Speed Daddy, Culture City, our Provide, Protect, and Net Group, welcome. Thank you for sharing this time with us. That above me is High Speed Daddy Senior. That is the Lean Green Dad, the Superman, and I am just the junior of both of them trying to figure out my place in the world. But today we are going to be talking about picky eaters, how to navigate them, tips for it, and trust me, I have 4 of them, myself, my wife, my daughter, and my son, and I feel like we all have different meals every single night. So this is something I've had. So gentlemen, good to see you. Happy Wednesday. How are you doing?
I am awesome. As some of you have been following us and know, George and I started the 75 Hard Challenge by Andy Frisella just today. We're drinking a gallon of water. We're almost done with that. I just finished my second workout. George and I have given up, hard for us, wine for the next 75 days.
Oh, I have a bottle of 2015 Camus Reserve Special Select in my kitchen, and I'm going to have to put like a wrapping paper on it and like don't open till Christmas.
Yeah, so I made the big mistake of yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. The last drink, and I didn't even do it on purpose, that I had was Womp Womp, a White Claw. That was the last drink I had before going into 75 days of not drinking. I had a White Claw.
TikTok about it because White Claw is all over TikTok.
Oh yeah, dude, White Claw has gone crazy. I truly better than White Claw, but I went somewhere is what someone had because I don't really drink beer anymore for various reasons. But yeah, they had White Claw. I had a White Claw. I meant to have something else before I went on this 75-day fast of alcohol. And I messed that up. So, oh, well, it's the last drink I had, and I'm not doing it for 75 days. And there's a bunch of other stipulations. But for those of you gentlemen that are following us right now, I know Joseph's on, of course. Yes. Who are joining us with the 75 Hard Challenge. Kudos to you guys. And I just
want to give Joseph kudos for saying, Craig, you're a man before the White Claw. So first, like, I got to own something. I've never even seen a White Claw in the wild, so I don't even know. I've never seen one. I've never held one. I've never tasted one. I just see the rage online. I can't even.
I've never tried White Claw either. I am in my old age. I'm going to be 40 here coming up pretty soon, and so that means I'm old now, and I am a whiskey drinker now.
You speak for yourself on the old thing. I'm coming up on 40, and I'm young. I'm like, I got 100 years left in me.
I like it. I like being older. Like saying that I'm older. I've earned this. Like it's taken me 40 years.
It took years to get this gray hair. Like
I got my first. I had a shave the other day. I got my first gray hair in my beard the other day. I let it go for 4 days, and I had one. I was like, oh, I'm old. I got to shave my hair and head.
You're such a puppy.
You're such a puppy. All right, so let's talk about picky eating. I'm going to tell everybody my tip right now. My tip is really, really easy. My 3-year-old is the best one ever because if he had his way, he would have 7 to 25 things in front of him at once, right? Like a bird. Like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. I cannot be like, hey, Bubs, I need you to eat chicken. I'm like, Bubs, whatever you do not eat the chicken. Like, just don't eat the chicken.
Jedi mind tricks.
Works. Reverse psychology.
Every single time. He'll be like, Daddy, I want the yogurt. I'm like, Bubs, you can't have the yogurt to eat the real food. I don't want the real food. I'm like, you know what? Me neither. You can't have it anyways. And he's like, no, Daddy, give it to me. And I'm telling you, we do it with kisses. Like, if I'm like, hey, can I give you a kiss? He's like, no. And I'm like, whatever you do, don't kiss us. And he's like, and he'll give us like 100 kisses. So we're still in that sweet spot age right there. So I play with that one all the time.
Nice.
My tip is simple. Can I give my tip, Craig?
Yeah, go ahead.
My tip is simple. Keep the ingredients on the plate minimal. Okay, so if I make like a fried rice, the fried rice needs to have at maximum 3 ingredients in it that they can identify. Because if there's anything more than that, they're instantly like, whoa, what is this business? I don't know what that is. And is that a green thing? Like, no way, not happening, right? So if I make a baked potato soup, which I love baked potato soup, I have to blend it up because there's stuff like garlic and onions. I might put a little tiny bit of green in there. And if they see that stuff, they're going to be like, no way. But if it's just baked potato soup, it's 1 ingredient, potatoes, they will totally eat it. So that's my thing.
And then you dip collagen in so they can't taste it. You get extra protein, right? Like everything's there.
As long as it's vegan collagen, which doesn't happen, I don't think. They say there's vegan collagen, but it's not really collagen.
That just sounds like a depressed supplement.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange.
I had
No,
to. Sorry.
my kids are the same way, Corey. I can't have like they don't like stews, right? You know, too much stuff in there. They start pointing, I don't like it. It's got to be minimal ingredients and that they can identify. So my kids are the same way.
I feel like you guys are making fun of me right now.
Why?
Because I don't like stews, and I only like 2 ingredients in my soups too. Like, it's not my kids, it's me. I'm like, don't try to give me that stew. There's mushrooms in there. There's peas. Get out of here. I want meat and sauce. And rice.
You are junior down there, so
I am junior. I told you. Joseph's junior. Joseph's
there
over
we
here.
go.
He's carrying the young train.
He is.
So the tip that I have is we established early on with our kids that kind of like a family rule that they must try everything, and they've actually, it was the hardest with the firstborn, right? Get them on. But after that, every sequential kid after that just followed suit where, okay, well, Dominic's trying it. So, you should try it as well and stuff. So my kids, while they might be picky in certain items, they do try everything, just about everything I put in front of them. Right. So, and, sometimes they don't like it, but sometimes they do. They realize that, hey, while it didn't look appetizing, it actually tasted really good. So that's something that if you can try to encourage them in a way to at least try it, then they might actually like it, right? It kind of sounds obvious, but we kind of established that as a rule so that, they're like, oh, well, I got to try it anyway, and then we usually have this little like double thumbs up rating system. And then it's like thumbs up and thumbs to the side or both to the side, down, one up, one down. And the kids really like have fun with that. Like, okay, how did this taste? And they start going like this. And, my wife and I just look at each other and like, well, we have no idea what that means, but do you want more? So.
I think for everybody, what's really important is like picky eating doesn't come like overnight, right? It's something that is either created or solved with consistency leading up to it. So like the first one is like, it'll never work forcing it, right? Like telling a kid to do something, you create resistance, you make them feel wrong. Like with kids, it has to be about enrollment. It has to be about fun. Like how can you make it play? How do you get them involved in things, involve them in the cooking process, lead by example? Like this morning, right? Like I worked out for my first workout this morning. I came back at like 6, Branson's up and he's like, Daddy, I'm hungry. I'm like, oh, Bubbies, I got to eat first. I got to get those eggs to make my muscle strong. I was like, do you want eggs? He's like, yeah, Daddy, I want eggs too. And I'm like, you want to cook them with me? He's like, yeah, I want to cook them with you. And I'm like, all right, do you want them white with runny yellow or do you want yellow? He's like, white with runny yellow. And then like he gets involved in the process. And if I just sat him like, do you want eggs? He's like, no, Daddy, I want yogurt. I want chocolate pudding. And so like having a healthy relationship with food, and it's not like what happens in the moment that night, like at that meal or at the table, that is a result of what happened for the 7 days before of like, how did we talk about food? How did we enroll them? And so, my wife has a background in hypnotherapy and NLP, and what she's taught me, one of the beautiful things is like, we always set our kids up to win, which I think is about getting through this. It's like, if like we're going to leave somewhere, we don't say, hey, Branson, it's time to go. We're like, hey, Bubbies, we're going to be going in 10 minutes and then in 7 minutes and in 5 minutes and 3 minutes and in 2 minutes, right? So he starts to understand time and go. But with food, it's the same thing. Like, we're going to be making this in a couple of days. Are you excited about this? Like, this is what we're doing for dinner. Like, what do you want? And like getting them a part of the story and the process, I think is a really, really powerful tool to utilize as well.
Yeah, I think so too. It's easy when you lead by example, and I think that not only food, but everything else. I mean, would you guys ever ask your kids to eat something that you yourself wouldn't eat just for their health?
Yeah,
that's hard.
I would.
So
I would.
Like
I
what?
won't eat because I won't eat vegetables.
Why?
Right? Because I don't like them.
You just don't like vegetables, but you would force your kid to eat vegetables?
No, I wouldn't force them, but I would ask them to.
Yeah, not force. That's the wrong word.
Yeah. So maybe that's what I kind of was leaning the same way. I was like, I don't know about force them, but ask them to, or something along those lines.
What do you not like, Craig? Do you not like?
That's the thing. I like everything. There is not much. There's things I didn't used to like growing up that I love now, and there's not much that I don't like these days. And I think that's a little bit easier because my kids see me eat everything. That's just kind of like a little bit of stoic in me, like, yeah, I'll just deal with it, whatever. Even if I don't like it, it's just, and it's like food is energy. So one of those things in my retarded mind, or in my, my mind is not smart, stuff like whatever. I'm going to shut up now, but anyway.
We'll pretend you didn't
I'm
say
stupid.
that.
I've worked out twice today. So
for the record, everyone, we do not agree with the statement that was just made.
I apologize to everyone out there for that.
From it.
I'm going to move on. But moving on. Part of the thing that I was thinking about before as you were talking was that I've seen this kind of generationally lead in, such as what you were saying, George, into vegetables. You don't like vegetables, and since you don't eat them, and it's not really an example thing, but your kids may not eat vegetables and stuff. I've seen, especially my own immediate family, that my wife may not like something. She's like, we won't have that, and the kid just won't like it because mommy doesn't like it, right? Or something along those lines. So, George, we always talk about, hey, you're not raising mini-me's, right? You're raising individuals, and you want them to make their own decisions and eventually, leading to successful adults and whatnot. So, that's always something I try to stay cognizant of as well, that we're not passing our own little, I don't want to say bad habits, but our own, inconsistencies around food onto them.
Yeah. And so like, there's times that I have to lead by example. Like, I don't like some things. Like, I grew up with a very unhealthy relationship with food. I wasn't taught food. I never had one family meal with my entire family, like ever, like in 18 years, not once at a dinner table with my family, home cooked meal, nothing. So everything was off. And so there are times where like, it'll be like, parents will be like, Daddy, you're gonna eat it. I'm like, oh, Daddy's going to try it too. And like, I'm literally like actually trying it. Like, yep, that's the first time I've bitten a mushroom in like 25 years. Like, that's the first time like I've had that, or and it's been good because it's kind of like reparenting my own childhood, which is a whole different episode in the psychology of all of this stuff. But it has been good. So yeah, there are times like, and luckily like Branson's super adventurous, Lindsay's super good. She likes all the foods and like kind of drives it, and it forces me to grow, lead by example, and try stuff. But then there's some things like if I'm going to gag when I eat it, like I can't, and I'm going to be like, hey, Branson, at least try it, right, and play that game. And just so everybody knows, if I'm looking down, it's because you guys are down here and my camera's up here. I'm trying to navigate this like eye thing right now because I'm in my studio setup. So just everybody just wonder I'm okay. I'm not like looking down and sad like a puppy. I'm like, I'm trying to look at your faces.
I love it.
Well, here's the thing. So I've traveled all over the world actually with previous careers and stuff like that. I've had some adventurous foods, and I'm trying to think of like ethically if there's one food I actually bowed down from. There was one, in the far east. I won't say which country and stuff like that. And they'd served me a version of a meat until they finally told me what it was. And because I asked, I just always asked because I wanted to know what was on my plate. And I said, what is this? What is this? And they finally told me, and I said, no, I'm just not going to have that. Yeah. And that was just like an ethical thing on my behalf. And I was like, I don't agree with this, et cetera, et cetera. So if you talk about like, would you have your kids try things and stuff? There are certain things, I guess, coming back around full circle that I would tell my kids like, no, don't have that. No, just ethically, don't have that.
And there's things my son eats that I would never touch. Like every time we make eggs, all he wants to do is lick the raw egg white. He loves it. And I'm not going to change that belief. And I used to eat raw eggs all the time, like back in the day. And I'm like, I'm not going to make it wrong, but man, I got to look away when I cringe because like it makes me go. But every time we eat eggs, he asks for like raw egg in a bowl. He just wants raw egg in a bowl. And I'm like, oh, I'll give him like a little white or let him play with a spatula before I cook it. But yeah, I think Corey, like I would never be like, you need to eat this because it's blah, 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 blah. It's about like enrollment and getting it. And like, for every picky eater, there's probably 4 solutions that are easy to enroll them in. Like they might not like Brussels sprouts, but you can get them to like broccoli if you rice it up or do anything like that. So like being fun, being enrolling and playing with it is definitely, and if you need any vegetable tips, go to the vegan himself, the Lean Green Dad, because I'm pretty basic. I use the heck out of that air fryer, and that's like my savior. Frozen veggies in the air fryer are perfect every time.
It's pretty funny. My friends and people online always ask me, like, do you force your kids to eat vegan? And I'm like, I don't force my kids to do anything, but we do have rules in the house. And it's just kind of like the rule of the house. Like we, as the Warren family, we choose not to eat meat, right? And it stems from mommy. We're doing it for mommy. And mommy has a chronic illness that we feel does better by eating more plant-based foods. And so we are choosing to do that together, right? But like, if my kid goes to a birthday party and they want to try the cheese pizza that's there, I'm going to tell them it is cheese pizza. You're your own person. Like you need to make your own choice. You know what we do as a family. And I believe that, if they don't eat cheese long enough and they do put that cheese in their mouth and they eat it, like they'll feel it. They'll notice a difference, right? I don't want them to be punished by feeling it. But look, ultimately, I don't want to be creating kids with food disorders later in life, right? Totally. Like they have to make their own decisions. And I support their decisions, but it's one of those things where they're all different. Like Roger is so passionately vegan. I don't know where this came from because he will look at marshmallows and he has a little raspy voice. So he'll be like, Daddy, can we have s'mores tonight? And I'll be like, yeah, man, that sounds good. And he'll look and he'll be like, these have gelatin in them. And I'll be like, what? And he'll be like, gelatin, Daddy? Horse hooves? Hello? Vegan, not vegan. It's horrible. Like, I'm not eating this. And I'm like, whoa, man, like, chill out. It's unbelievable. I did not create this, like super strong. Like, he's going to be outside of SeaWorld with like a PETA sign or something. What did I do? But, ultimately they are good kids and they understand that, it's their choice. They can figure out what they want to do. But, we do have a rule as a family that, this is the way we eat. And I guess kind of conflicts itself. Is it, if I make a rule, does it mean that I'm forcing them to eat a certain way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you were saying that and about making rules, I was like, well, I kind of made a rule in my family, like you have to try everything.
I think
right? I
think it's about creating containers, right? I think one of the other things that we talk about, like just understanding the psychology of children, right? Like the psychology of humans. The moment you tell somebody they can't do something or they have to do something, they resist it right away and go the opposite, right? So we always go choice, right? So like if Branson's being picky about something or he wants like his super healthy farm to table organic coconut milk chocolate pudding, the creme that he loves, right? I'd be like, okay, Bubbies, do we have to eat something healthy? And I don't want. I'm like, okay, well, and then I won't say that. I'll be like, okay, Bubbies, do you want chicken or do you want rice? And he's like, oh, chicken. And then I'll have a couple bites of chicken, right? So it's about like enrollment.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I would say, like, and this is from the other perspective. This is the guy who was bulimic for 15 years and had an unhealthy food relationship and everything, is that you also got to do the payoffs and the consequences of like, is this worth it? Like, okay, I get that it's great that you want your kid to eat this, right? But like, is that the only option? And is the process or method of going through that going to have secondary and third world effects on something else that's different versus like realizing that we're probably asserting our dominance as parents because of our own insecurities or something our parents did to us, and just looking at it a little bit differently to realize we're not making mini-me's. We are here to guide these beautiful little souls that were entrusted to us to make the brightest lights in the world. And it's not always going to look how we want it to look. And so I'd say just always check in that moment. Like if you're really calm and it's for their safety, of course, stand that ground hard, right? Like don't let them eat something they're not supposed to eat or poisonous or allergic, obviously, right? But if it's something, it's like, just because it's your viewpoint or your opinion doesn't mean it has to be theirs. And check in to see what the effects are of that. And if it's worth going down that road, or maybe it's worth swallowing it. Like there's probably 25 times a day. Like I just have to swallow my pride as a parent. I'm like, yep, my 3-year-old's right. I'm going to shut up and go pout for a second and then come back and love him. Right. And I think that's really what it is, about being conscious, informed, educated, and being very intentional about everything that we do. I think is the best way to think about it.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I feel like we covered it. I feel like we nailed
that was a good one.
Well, there's one last thing that I'll add. It's not really so much for the kids. It's circling back around to what we first started off with, and the challenge that George and I are doing is Corey, I've committed to starting at 1 day a week. I will be going plant-based.
Wow.
Which is huge for me because I am a meat eater. And that's just how I grew up. That's what I really like. That's what I really enjoy. But I needed a challenge. And I've been telling you for a while, I'm interested. This is the kick in the butt that I'm going to do it. And I'm going to start 1 day a week, and I'm going to set myself up for success and do like that. And if I really get into it, obviously compound on that. But I'm committing to at least 1 day a week. I will be going full plant-based for the entire day.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'll send you recipes. I'll send you 5 recipes a week, and you can just choose which one you do for that day.
You want to know how to make me a vegetarian? Somebody else cooks all my food, right? Because I probably do like 3 or 4 plant-based meals a week. Or days a week, but it's only because I'm like, oh, I want that Caesar salad, or I want that salad, or I want that, think that restaurant. It's the cooking part of it, right? So just setting myself up to win. But man, I'm like newly addicted to Caesar salads again. I don't know. I'm like,
Caesar salads are good.
I've been knocking down like 3 full Caesar salads in a day.
You're making me want one right now, just
right. So I have a question: fully dressed, like tossed dressing, or dressing on the top?
Tossed. In my opinion,
we're friends.
Okay,
I'm tossed. I'm with you.
Be careful.
What I really enjoy.
I was waiting for him to say that.
Everyone's
I really enjoy. So
game set
made with anchovies or not?
Personally, I love it, but it doesn't fit into Corey's world.
Nah, I just don't need them.
I want the umami, right? I would never eat it. Like, but that's the thing where we talk about picky eaters, right? Like, I hate mushrooms. Like, I hate mushrooms. It's a texture thing. But if I make mushroom gravy with like brown butter and mushrooms with a vegetable stock and blend it, I will drink it like it's a shot. Like, I'm like chug it like a smoothie. So there's parts of it, like, and I think that's something to remember with your kids too, right? Like textures and tastes and feelings and crunches and things like that. It might not be they don't want to eat it. Could be causing like a sensory thing. Like for me, like you put a slimy mushroom in my, you could have like a 1/16 of an inch mushroom inside of a stew, and I will feel it on the spoon and start dry heaving. Right? Game over. Game over. It's like I'm eating a slug.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we're good.
Yum.
All right, people. Well, listen, I'm going to close this out. So listen, this is High Speed Daddy, and we are here as guests, as dads, to offer some thoughts, some advice, some camaraderie. But we also do that for dads on a deeper level in our High Speed Daddy Provide, Protect, Connect private Facebook group. If you'd like to come join us over there, Craig, George, and I are all active in that group. Joey's there. What up, Joey? And we love that guy. So for sure, join in. We've got some great things going on, especially the challenge happening right now. If you're interested in trying this challenge, hearing what it is, it's a lot of working out, a lot of water drinking, and a lot of taking care of yourself. So if you can vibe with that, come join us, because I think right now, having something to obsess about while we're at home and commit to and share in the community and commit to each other will be pretty epic right now. And I think we can all agree on that. So
let's do
come
it.
on over. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week, every Wednesday, right here, 4:30 Eastern on the High Speed Daddy channel. Till next time. Bye, guys.